It's the return of WMR Wednesdays. Welcome to Weekly Manga Recap here on May the 6th of 2026. I am Nick, here with Quinn.
That's
and we
me.
have a full batch of manga to talk today.
Yes, plenty of manga. But guys, before we get into it, can we just say how good it feels to be back on a Wednesday night? None of this fucking Tuesday shit. That's for the birds. You want to know what Tuesday's for? Tacos and fucking nothing else, okay? I eat a bunch of tacos and I don't want to record something. That's pretty much my usual Tuesday night plans.
We did have Mexican yesterday, and it was delicious. So, yeah.
That sounds phenomenal, actually. I am very excited to be back on Wednesday night. There's just something comfortable about this. It's like a nice, like, midweek kind of moment, too. Like, after this, I'm like, all right, we're home stretch from here on in. So,
yes.
Yeah. We are back here for the time being. There shouldn't be any shifts to that schedule or anything like that. We'll keep you updated if anything like that happens, but you can't keep us away.
Yeah. It's nice to have you all here with us again. And we have like 15 chapters to talk about today, so let's hit the ground running.
We should open by saying there should be even more than that. You'd be like ninjas like about to type in like, don't you mean 18?
No.
But we are not going to be discussing the 3 Black Clover chapters today. There may be we'll stay tuned. We'll probably be talking about it next week. But we have plenty of series to talk about, and we're hoping to maybe save next Black Clover for next week for a special reason. So stay tuned.
We're not going to fall behind on it. It's okay. So
yeah. So don't worry about that. In the meantime, though, Nick, are you feeling a little bit itchy over there?
I'm feeling kind of witchy too.
Oh.
So let's talk about 80th Hunt of Ichi the Witch. Traitor! We open with the most wanted list file 1310, the violent and extremely dangerous Fujimine. But, well, the story is primarily not actually about her. It's about the Toxiterror magic.
I love them. Look at him. He's friend-shaped. You just want to give him a hug. You can't. It'll absolutely kill you. But he just looks like he wants a big hug.
There's something very Mimikyu coded about this magic. The decaying cloak all over it, the decaying tentacles that are drooping, horrible poisonous sludge. But the Toxiterror magic, despite being horribly lethal to humans, because it is constantly exuding this poison, is actually friendly to people.
It's very cool. This is a pretty cool magic.
This is a interesting little story where it, of its own accord, went to the Witches Association and said, hey, I don't want to hurt people, and also it would be bad if a human acquired me and used my power against other people. So can you just like give me sanctuary so that I don't hurt anyone and nobody hurts me? And the witches agreed to this, and they gave the Toxiterror magic a tank, and we see that like everyone was like really chill with them. They had little dances, they played tic-tac-toe with it, they gave it the name Tati.
It's so cute.
And at Toxiterror magic at one point was even like, thank you for letting me live with you guys.
It blushes. Like, come on. And you turn the page and it's dead.
Yeah, and so then Fujimine acquired it and killed 57 people, including 3 magic keepers, and acquired the magic and escaped. And this has then remained in the shadows, using her magic to commit and abet others in violent crime. And now her number of victims is well over 1,000. But I don't know any of their names, so I'm sure she can be fixed. I'm sure that she's going to be okay. So...
They actively listed out her crimes, and you're still like, most of those are irrelevant, though. Again, I can fix her.
So Hat Boy says that, yeah, when we capture Fujimine, we are going to kill her. That is our quest. And so we know that she also has accomplices who have betrayed humanity and sided with her. And the Manila Witch Association is not helping us to figure out who they are. So we are going to do that ourselves. And yeah, we're just going to like be poking our heads or noses around doing that. So see you around. And so he heads out with the rest of the Magic Keepers, and Ichi is just left with that thought of like, hey, he was not kidding around. He is planning on killing Fujimine. So,
Oh, okay, wait. Important details actually have come out, Nick. I didn't look at this closely before. In the panel where all the Magic Keepers leave, they all turn around and we can see their weapons. One of them has a chakram.
That I guess that is a chakram, yeah.
Yeah, and he has a mace, and then that guy has like twin swords, and then a big stick. The other guy
big
just
stick.
Yeah, the other guy doesn't have a weapon.
It looks
He's too
like
cool for
it looks like a party cracker.
I was gonna say, I was like, he looks like those crackers on New Year's that we open, and it would just be garbage inside, and truly just awful prizes. But
oh, it's a paper crown.
yeah, I'm like, ooh boy. It's a wristband that's already broken. Thank you.
We get some conversation between the Magic Keepers as they are kind of like heading down the hall, thinking like, hey, is there actually a traitor here in the Witches Association? Because I doubt that Manigold's going to actually just turn the other way the whole time. Maybe she's actually just like kind of covering for her. But Hat Boy says, I don't know about that. We don't know the full extent of Fujimina's abilities. She's been lying low for a really long time. It could be, however, that the traitor is part of the top ranks of the Witches Association. I wonder who that could be. And we get this big, huge split panel 2-page spread to remind us of who all like the top ranking witches in the Witches Association are. Most of these are people that we've seen like in that one opening scene where they were all like tuning into the meeting at the beginning, and then they showed up for like one scene to actually learn their names. And I think that was where we learned like who Jiki Shirane was, basically. So that's kind of like how recent this was. And we're told like one of them is probably the traitor, and we're gonna find out who it is. And then we follow one of those witches who immediately turns out to be the traitor.
It's very interesting because I've heard some people who are like legit like I kind of think this is a weird move. I think you should have like teased this out longer. And a lot of people are like, let's give us time. I imagine the reason we're finding this out so immediately is probably because there's most likely like a second level to all of this. But it is very funny to be like, it could be any one of these people. Turn the page. Okay, it's her.
It could be you. It could be me. It could be. Oh, it's her. Oh.
But we have a pretty good idea. We think it's her.
Yeah. Turns out, Amadoro Ribbon Candy, the Bullet Witch, who goes to one of the mirror portals, and is like, do you know where I can find Ichi the Witch? And the mirror's like, please state your name. What's going on? And so then Ribbon Candy pulls out her minigun and shoots it.
I'm dumb. Is that how by the by is supposed to be said? B-Y the B-Y-E? By the by. I thought it was... Yeah, wait, isn't it B-Y the B-Y?
It can be both, according to this. So.
Crazy. All right. Well, I also have a secondary tangent. Lollipops, they're very gross. Recently at work, we put a lot of lollipops out, and there are times where I get very bored, and I'm like, well, I need to do something. So I'll grab a lollipop and start sucking on it, and every time, the second I unwrap it and put it in my mouth, a person comes in, and I'm like, well, now what the fuck do I do with this? I can't have like a full-on conversation with them with a lollipop in my mouth. That doesn't, like, it's going to sound awful and awkward. But then, like, what do you do when you take it? Do you just hold like a wet lollipop in your hand? What are you supposed to do? This is why it's like only children eat these, because they're fucking animals. They'll put their fingers on everything. They don't care. But I'm an adult. I have responsibilities. Nick, help me.
Okay. So Ribbon Candy shoots up the mirror, and we cut outside to reveal that, Fujimine is sicking her on everyone, and Ribbon Candy is clearly acting on her behest, as she says, like, why don't you take a quick shot at killing Ichi for me? And yes, it is entirely possible that there's something else going on. Hey, maybe it has to do with that very lollipop that she's sucking on, because there's like a lot of sweets that seem to be associated with Fujimine. She was having her tea party with World Hater Magic. We see her munching on a donut in this shot. So maybe it's not actually a willing partnership that is happening here.
It's like an evil lollipop game.
Yeah, so to your point, Quinn, maybe lollipops are not for adults. And, if you as an adult do partake in them, a witch who I'm sure is not nearly as bad as everyone says might take control of you. So we'll see how this turns out.
A witch who contains multitudes, to be very clear.
We haven't heard her side of the story yet. I'm just saying, look.
The Toxiterror magic might have been racist. Like, we really didn't see that long of it. So,
maybe the Toxiterror magic was just like, I hate fucking children.
Yeah.
And put me in a tank so I don't have to look at their ugly faces.
Look, we it was, like, cute and fun. The Toxiterror magic voted Trump 3 times. Okay? Every election it was possible, it's been voting. Okay? This was a way to equalize the playing field.
When people say toxic masculinity, they don't mean it positively, okay?
They mean the literal toxic versions of masculinity.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I am going to side with the folks that are going to kind of give this reveal some more time. It's not something that immediately strikes much of an impact beyond the Bullet Witch being a very sort of fun title for a witch to have, and the design being somewhat interesting. But beyond that, we don't know enough about Amadoro to be like horrified or feel anything.
So little about her.
Yeah, we know she's the Bullet Witch.
She's got impeccable style, and she's got a minigun. Like, that's all we know.
I want to push back on impeccable style. What are fucking snowflake like sideburns? Like, what are these? What are the things she's got like attached like decals to her cheekbones? What is this?
I don't know. Why are you hating?
I'm just saying, I don't think it's particularly fashionable.
Listen, I wouldn't know either way. So.
You're like, there's no skulls on it, so it's equally as unfashionable to me as everything else everyone wears in this series.
I'm like one of those guys who, like, can't see people's faces.
Nick's like, Ichi's slutty boots would be a lot better if they had skulls on them.
They would! But unironically.
All right, Blue Box.
Chapter 240, Because I Came to Ame, which is a very dramatic title. The match between Haruto and Taiki is proceeding. Taiki still has the 1 set lead, but the second set is still insanely close. They're like only separated by a point within it. And as they're going back and forth, suddenly somebody calls out, "Hey, you got this, Haruto!" And after what looks like he scores a point, he looks back over his shoulder and realizes, wait a minute, that was my fucking brother who cheered for me.
Which has to be a very strange feeling for this kid. He's just gonna be like, I really thought you hated me. What is this? What's happening?
Yeah. And, Haru just turns to him and is like, did you just cheer for Haruto really loudly? And Shuji's like, he's my little brother. Of course I did.
I love Shuji so much. He truly knows nothing about the world, but it exists very simply for him, and I think that's wonderful. He's like, Haruto, of course I cheer my brother. Why would there be an issue between us?
Why would I not?
He's actually my favorite person ever and the best badminton player I know, or whatever.
And they're like, you're very hard to read. Like, Haruto is so stunned by this that between points he looks at Taiki and is just like, that was Shuji. He just cheered for me. He's never interested in anybody else. And Taiki's just looking at him like he's crazy. He's like, yeah, so he cares about you, obviously. So Haruto thinks to himself, like, I mean, but it's always felt like, I was just lagging behind him. So did I like catch up without even realizing it? And then he thinks, did I just like imagine that there was all that distance between us? And then he gets kind of resentful at his brother himself, the world, and thinks, tell me these things sooner. And it's like, yeah, that is kind of a weird feeling when you realize, like, oh, all the resentment I had was just my own perceptions making me upset for no reason. He goes for a drop shot, and Taiki is barely able to get after it. Taiki, of course, his specialty is just stamina, so he just keeps doggedly going after all of his tricks and stuff. And Taiki thinks to himself as he is, hitting each shot and getting back into position, like, I have been practicing these things every single morning. And everyone's like, hey, he is going to run out of stamina. Like, that's why he couldn't make it to the finals last year. He's going to run out of stamina. But then Chinatsu shouts out to him from the stands, like, yeah, do it! Do win! And we get a flashback of the time that they were just at the aquarium.
Now, this is a unique detail. We are meant to believe, like, oh, hearing Chinatsu's voice empowers Taiki, and he kind of is inspired by thinking of his beloved girlfriend, and that kind of refills his stamina, gives him that second wind. It's actually, he was just thinking about how cool aquariums are, and Chinatsu happened to be there. But it was just thinking about aquariums that really got him like back into that Zen mode, and that's the most relatable thing about Taiki.
Just going up for the shuttlecock. Man, fish are cool.
I love sharks. Bam! Just impales the shuttlecock into Haruto's head.
And the big thing that Chinatsu wanted to tell him when they were at the aquarium together was just, hey, there's something that I want to tell you. I'm always moving forward. But of course, like the impression is like with him, like so. Haruto gets a big old flashback montage thinking about his time with his brother, all that he's done to try and keep up and catch up with him. And he thinks, this is just so frustrating. I've just got all these dark, sickening feelings welling up inside of me. I can't learn to like myself right away. Badminton's fun, but I really do want to win. The reason I can think positively and say this is just the kind of person I am and that it's fuel to help me grow stronger is because I came to AMA. And at that moment, Taiki gets a shot past him and just gets enough ahead to win the set. So Haruto is lost. His badminton journey this year has come to an end. Matching, all of the beats that we've come to expect from Blue Box, where the person getting all the introspection and stuff, they're the one to lose because their journey is over. But for him, he is a second year. He's got, he's not done. He's basically in the position that Taiki was last year. So he at least has taken a step forward with this loss. He's made an important epiphany.
Yeah. It's sad and brutal. Haruto lost without even taking a set off of Taiki, which is unfortunate. But he's able to hopefully hold his head up pretty high. This is pretty far to have made it into the tournament. Taiki didn't make it much further than this last year, so it's hopefully something that Haruto is able to kind of carry with him. And also, I'd like to hope that there is something healing to the knowledge of like, oh, my brother actually doesn't hate me. Like, he's not this like completely distant thing. He's just not a particularly like expressive person. And actually I think choosing to go to this other school and meet other people and give me like this invigoration was the right call. And, I doubt we are going to see Haruto's third year, but maybe we see little snippets of it, and I would not be shocked to see him make nationals next year.
Yeah, that might be a thing that we cut to, like, in like the epilogue part of the series or something like that. But yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, hey, Blue Box isn't really a sports series, so the important thing is that, the character evolves more than anything else. And he did.
Yes. All right, Nick, it is time for Dandadan. This is chapter 232, The Heart of a Water Flea. So we open... Yeah,
it's been a few weeks.
Yes, we open with Chiquito Banana screaming about a Brachiosaurus. Last time we ended with Gigi being eaten by a Brachiosaurus. We don't pick up on that. In fact, I don't think we see them at all in this chapter. But instead, we open up with Mr. Peeny Weeny and his awesome child who are watching around, seeing all the dinosaurs. Chiquito is just shouting out dinosaur facts in a way every child should. It's honestly one of the most pure and beautiful things about childhood is the unbridled love you get to have for dinosaurs at that point in time. And they're there also, I believe, with Miss Adachi, the teacher from the school, who has been kind of rescued and sort of placed into the greater...
It's not Ms. Adachi, it's Ms. Tamiko.
Who's Miss Tamiko?
I believe that they are the person that Mr. Peeny Weeny works for.
Ah, interesting. All right. Well, then, she is there with them as they're going through everything. They've basically given them a whole bunch of tickets and everything like that. And, Peeny Weeny, Shrimp Man, I don't know what we like to call him, but he is, apologizing for taking this day off and everything. And, Miss Tamiko is just like, don't worry about it. You're always such a help. This is great. And she asks, hey, what'd you do with all those extra tickets? And he's like, oh, I gave them to Miss Vamola. And we see a little flashback that explains, like, Vamola is coming by to ask for, her suit back, ask if it's been fixed. And he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, but while I get it, could you help me? And, he's carrying big piles of I don't know, sod or seed or something like that. And Vamola's helping because she always is. She's always just like, yeah, absolutely. What can I do? And she says, hey, me and the others are going on a group date. Where should we go? And he just asks, he's like, hey, a date, huh? Hey, is there somebody you like? And she says,
yep, lots of people.
Yep, I love Momo and Grandma and Takakura and Ira and Gigi. Like, Peeny Weeny eventually is like, I don't have time to talk.
It's late.
I have work to do. I'll be here all night if you name every person you feel like you have a connection to. But he's like, he gives her the tickets and is basically like, here you go. So it's like, oh, wow. So, what's going to happen? Well, I wonder who she's going to go with. But Peeny Weeny says, that I don't know. And they're like, oh, I wonder if they could even be here right now. We see Gigi and Momo kind of walking behind them, not realizing each other are there. All this says to me is that the Mantis Shrimp Man is going to get another fight in this arc at some point. He's going to punch something.
He's in the region right now while all this is going on.
He's in the general proximity. He's going to punch something. It's going to be awesome. Cut over to Vamola, who's looking for more snacks. And we, in case you missed it last time, it's definitely a Serponian. It's 100% big head, everything like that. And they just keep giving Vamola snacks. So she just keeps going up. She's like, can I get another one? They're like, sure. And she just leaves.
She's getting one for Quinta, seemingly. So,
yes, she's getting two, and she starts trotting off, very happy. She goes over to the barber salon, gets ushered inside, and we cut back over ominously to the Serponian. We see little clips from other people. We see that Okarun and Ira have gone to like the aquarium. They're over at like where the sea lion show is and everything like that. And there's a moment where they're like, "Oh man, it was kind of crazy when we saw Gigi and Momo." It's like, yeah. And Ira kind of just throws out, she's like, I wonder if they're a thing now. And of course, that gets Okarun very stressed out. He starts, he goes into like that deep, like, sees into the middle distance kind of moment. And he thinks of, that moment of them passing and then seeing their hands holding. And he kind of has this moment where he's like, you might not be wrong. And he just, well, I should say we don't 100% know. But we have somebody saying it's all my fault. I'm such a clumsy, stubborn, stupid idiot as Ira reaches over and kind of grabs onto Okarun's hand. And she just says, why don't you and I be a couple too? And
this girl is not just taking her shot. She has been on the higher level 3 blocks down with her spotter making calculations for her sniper shot for the past 3 weeks.
She has done the math to take into account like the Earth's curvature so she can make sure this is an accurate shot. There's a moment where it looks like the two of them might kiss. But then a seal kind of flops up next to them and goes,
"Stop that!"
The heart of a water flea. And then it doesn't actually do that. It says, I may look like a sea creature, but my heart is that of a water flea, they say as they rip out of the sea lion outfit they're in. And I don't know how to describe. It's a mostly naked man who seems to have no eyeballs. Like there's just like whiteness in the eyes, or maybe they're closed. I don't know. It's a weird looking dude. Some dude they're going to fight, I presume. So,
I'd be less concerned about the fact that they're in a Speedo, if not for the fact that they're like protectively, soccer free kick position, protecting the balls right now.
I would be less concerned if we hadn't run into that weird jack-o'-lantern diaper dude earlier, because now I'm just always like, I think everybody might be aligned with that guy, and that's a very particular steez to have to be associated with.
Yep. So we've got the Brachiosaurus attacking Gigi and Momo. We've got the barber guy with Kinta and Vimola, and we've got this guy with Ira and Okarun. So it sort of seems like we've got our fights divvied off for the next battle at this point.
Yes. Now it is worth noting that one scene with Momo and Gigi where they're like nearby Mr. Peeny Weeny, they're not being attacked by the Brontosaurus. So. Right. I don't know if that's supposed to be...
Please, Quinn. Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus. My apologies. My apologies. So I'll be curious to see if that's addressed in some way. But we got some cool stuff going on, and Vimola is
seem to
adorable.
Go backwards a little bit in order to do this chapter.
Sure.
Because there wasn't any, space established in everything that we were seeing. And of course, we saw Vimola go back into the shop after visiting the stall a second time. So I think that was done that way to let us know, by the way, this is kind of happening concurrently.
One more thing.
Right.
Gotta go backwards now. All right. Spy Family.
Yes. So the whole incident with the terrorists hijacking the broadcast in order to do the corrected version of the popular soap opera has all settled down. It's the next day. Yor's gone back to work. Her friend who was watching the broadcast is like clutching her hand and is like, "Are you okay? I went to the station afterwards." And Yor's like, "Oh yeah, I got to go home in a big strong car," which is accurate. So she's like, "What was Kevin like? Is he that cool in person?" And Yor's like, "Which one's Kevin again?" She doesn't know any of these people. Hemlock is looming in the background. We're like, this is so inappropriate. Cavorting with thespians on TV. Cavorting with thespians.
It's going to be the name of our podcast soon.
McMahon says yeah, she did get into a bunch of trouble that way, but what could she do? The shopkeeper actually enjoyed her performance, was totally fine with it, didn't seem that concerned. And Hemlock's like, what? Cavorting is an act of loyalty to the homeland?
What I love is he is just now grasped this. This man is a master spy. I guess to this point has never heard of the concept of a honeypot. And wait, you could cavort with others as a way to show loyalty to the homeland. So the one girl comes by and is like, hey, what time, like, we should go out sometime. He's like, absolutely. We'll go out whenever you'd like. He just figured this out in this exact moment that you could do this. But he's an idiot too. So of course, when she's like, where do you want to go? He's like, the place where the traitors to our country would hang out.
You gotta love a man who knows his passion. Come on. Oh man, Hemlock sucked so much in like the first chapter he was in. He's so funny.
I'm really starting to learn that I think this series sometimes gets characters that rub me the wrong way, and then I learn to like them afterwards. Because like in the same way, like I hated Nightfall in her first arc, and now I think she's maybe one of my favorite characters in this series. Hemlock is quickly reaching that point as well, when I'm like, oh, when we get past your first initial like kind of shittiness, you're actually very funny.
Right. We need to establish all the groundwork for the character for all the jokes to be ricocheted off of their heads, and then it's good.
Yeah.
Anya is in Eden Academy, and everyone's talking, of course, about like, you know, the station being hijacked and stuff. And one of them's like, "Oh, the black-haired actress was cute," and Anya like she's on a brick wall overseeing everyone. Looks down, is like, "That was my mama." Becky, I'd forgotten where this chapter goes. So, Becky, of course, is like, I want to be able to like be in the spotlight just like my master Yor. And then she's like, I know what we're gonna do, Anya, after school. And so they go to Linden Street, a very popular street. And she says, this is the holy land for talent scouts. We just need to go up and down the street until a talent scout spots us. The stylist and cosmetician I hired did a great job, and they're just following her around while Martha's there like, here we go again. I'm in on this again. And Anya is just like, I'm in costume too. I'm the captain of the Thunderwall. And she's like in an excavator adventure, like underground adventure outfit.
I love when they're like, I don't know what you're going for. And she's like, I'm trying to get scouted by the captain of this group. And it's like, I don't think captains scout for recruits on this street like that.
Becky, who is still ride or die with Anya, says, let's just walk around for a while, even though it will be a little embarrassing to be seen with you. So they do that for a bit. Of course, no talent scouts show up. Anya, of course, concludes, we need to go underground so I can get scouted. She's trying to get in the manhole cover. I love that one of the... I don't know if it's the stylist or the cosmetician. It doesn't matter. But she says, your father is so rich. You could just use your nepotism and get a chance. And she says, no. I am going to earn this through my own beauty.
Girl, just be a Nepo baby. Everyone's doing it.
Some of them are actually okay. So they're like, all right, fine. And Becky's like, we just need to do something else. I know what the problem is. After the broadcast last night, there's all sorts of people dressing like Bumblina, so I need to stand out. And Anya's like, I want to change clothes too. So Becky dresses like an undercover actress, which is missing the point. And Anya is, Sailor Moon Knight person.
Yeah, she's got the sailor like outfit frock on, but then she also has a mace and a shield.
And she's like, I'm going to be scouted by Master Tuxedo Mask, who is like if Master Roshi and Tuxedo Mask did the fusion dance in her brain.
And I love that she just sees an old man afterwards, and she's like, there he is! That's Master Tuxedo right there! And they're like, no, that's just an old man.
It doesn't work, so they go for something different, something mysterious, and we get Goth Baby, Anya, and Becky. And Minerva's occult leader guy is like, oh, are you girls interested in the occult?
This is
And Martha's like, stay away from him. Stay away from that man.
It's a very funny chapter. If it mostly because I love how it keeps connecting it with other little pieces. The idea of bringing him back and then being like, nah, this is a bad idea.
Anya's really interested in that guy, almost goes with him, but then they're like, let's do a sporty thing. So Becky dresses like a hip-hop basketball star, and Anya is Ryu, basically, from Street Fighter. So then Becky's like, oh, maybe this isn't going to work. And Anya's like, you know what? I don't want to be on TV. I want to join an evil syndicate and rule the world. What? So then Becky's like, this is all your fault, Martha. You're too close to me. And Martha's like, I'm your bodyguard. I got to stay close. So then she's like, we've got to do something different. Dress up like Anya or something instead. So Becky has an entirely different idea, which is divas who hide their faces have been popular. So let's do that. And so she dresses like Guy Fawkes while Anya and the others dress up like masked cult members. And then the police show up and are like, this terrorist. So, yep. Later on, Martha apologizes to Becky's father for, everything. And then Becky's like, Daddy, make me a Nepo baby, basically. Just invite all your talent scout friends. And then when Anya gets home, she's just got all the, like, leftovers from her costumes, and it's like, I got to be a pretty guardian and Joker, and look at all this cool stuff I've got. And they're just like, oh, how nice.
I love that both of them are like, oh, did you now? What a fun day. No question as to why their daughters brought home. Yeah, she's brought him a mace, whatever. Just, oh, did you now? What a fun day. Wash up for dinner.
Yep. Silly chapter. Fun stuff.
Good times. All right, we have Hero Destroyerz Class 2B.
Okay, yes, last time we met our not heroes, but villains. Second period. Bathrooms X Demon King Commode. We basically reiterate the premise in this chapter. There is a Demon King who is, on the run from her own world, and Valaris is trying to gather evil minions, and the one she's got her eyes on most is Akira Kumon, who has a reputation as the Demon King Commode of beating the fuck out of people. It's that again. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of jokes, like how Valaris thinks that her classmates who make fun of her have a potential, but then she's also clearly resentful of them, so she scribbles on their pictures in the yearbook. And then we get, Akira trying to be a good student, but when he goes up to the board to solve an equation, he scribbles a bunch down like he's really smart, and instead he's just writing out stuff in the shape that spells out wakarimasen, as in, I don't know what the fuck the answer to this question is, but he acts all smug about it. Then we find out that he first took his Demon King form when he was in 4th grade, and that's about it. Also, there is some important background detail that seems like is going to come back later, which is that the bathroom is important to him because he apparently made friends with a kid who also needed to stay in the toilet a lot, but they got separated when the bathroom was being remodeled, basically. So he lost contact with the kid at that point. And so he greatly resents people who mess up people's peaceful times in the bathroom. And then it turns out the bathroom stall that Vamos came out of, the rift is connected to every bathroom stall in the whole school. So it's going to affect Akira every single time that he goes into the bathroom, seemingly.
All right. I have almost no thoughts on this series, Nick. It's too much. There's too many words. Every time I flip a page, I'm like, sorry, too many words on this page for me to get through.
I understand what it's going for, which is that it's like, oh, it's like as if all the lore were really important and stuff, and that's just kind of the joke because it's all toilet stuff. But it's a whole lot of words to say shit, basically. So
I think it's very amusing to me. Tedder Alive says this manga would be really funny if it were funny, and I don't know. I'm like that.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. like I appreciate all the work that goes into it. It's just not really connecting. That's all.
Yep. All right, but maybe it'll connect if we draw it to the fire, Nick.
Yeah, or like just read this series, which happens to be drawn to the fire.
Yeah.
Chapter 3, creating sparks. So yeah, big promise made by the team, like, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to nationals, and everyone's all determined and stuff. But they're having a scrimmage over the weekend, and they're going up against a big team called Murakumo Academy, which is a very, very good team. Natsuo got scouted there, but was like, yeah, I decided not to go there, because I wanted to go here instead, because I wanted to do it with this team instead. So we get narration that bigs them up. They're very prestigious and stuff. So they're like, well, why do they want to play against us? And it's because of that video that went viral with Natsu, Duncan and stuff. They got posted on social media. So they're like, oh, we want to play against Natsu and everything. So that's why they're going up against Kushikusa. But Uba, who is like the third-year captain, kind of, or like one of the top guy. I think he's the vice captain, if I remember correctly. He's like, if they're doing this to come up with a strategy against us, we should like go scout them ahead of time. So he goes out with Natsu and with oh gosh, what's his name? Keiki. And so they just like go quote unquote in disguise, which is like just, I don't know. You're just kids. Like, if you dress this way, you're just going to draw attention to yourselves. But they go in order to like go in, but then they are mistaken to actually be participating in the practice by a couple of basketball players, and also they've got their basketball gear. So they're like, oh, I guess we should go, and so they get dragged over to participate in their practices and scrimmages and stuff. There's a whole bunch of people here because they're an actually big proper basketball club, unlike Kuchikusa's, which has 6 members. So everyone's like jogging, so they fall into line and are running shuttles with them and everything. People are discussing the video of Akane Natsu while not noticing that Akane Natsu is right there among them. So they're all stupid. But Natsu's just like, people just kind of take their surroundings for granted all the time. That's about it. Then we get introduced to some of the students that are part of Murakumo's basketball team. So there's a really big guy who's doing a big proper drive named Ioda. And then we get Neo! I think that he's going to be called Yamashiro, probably.
Probably.
Who's a much more quiet kind of character, who pretty immediately realizes like that Keiki is from Kuchikusa. And it's just like, yeah, you're from there. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to tell anyone. It's okay. So, yeah. But he's like, hey, why don't you, like, let us have, Natsu? Like, he's wasted on your team. Like, there's too much of a difference between you guys. Natsu is, like, yeah. They're like, yeah, so there's no room for this guy on the court. He's short. He sucks. Don't you want to, like go to nationals and stuff? And yeah, he just says all that. And then Keiki says, hey, if you want Natsu to be on your team, why don't you just like tell him that yourself? And then he starts to drive past, drive against Yamashiro. And Yamashiro's like, okay, this is actually like really good. He's like, I understand though, like I've pissed you off, which means you're going to try and make the shot yourself. Like I've challenged your manliness, and so you're going to try and rise against me. But of course, instead, Yamashiro freaking passes to Natsu because that's their specialty, and Natsu dunks the fuck on them. And so that's kind of like their like parting shot, because Keiki and Natsu both head out, and they say like, we're going to make it to nationals. We're going to prove it to you, and we'll prove it to you guys in our scrimmage this weekend. And then everyone else is like, wait a minute, you guys are from Kuchikusa. What are you doing here? Because I'm sure was the only one who knew who they were until that moment. So they have to turn and run the hell away. Uba was not there the whole time. He was just separated from them, so he didn't get to do anything. So the reason he went with them on that mission was to be an idiot. So that's it.
Which one's Uba?
The guy with the glasses who also went with them undercover.
Okay, so not like an important character. It's still mostly just little kid and tall, super good player, right?
Keiki and Natsu, yes.
Yeah. All right, Nick. That has been 3 chapters now of the beloved Drawn to the Fire series, and we here at Weekly Manga Recap on Wednesdays, once again, must decide for ourselves: are we going to keep this into recap or not?
I'm kind of in the middle on this. I feel like there's not anything like super compelling about this. I think that it is totally fine though, so far.
Yeah, I enjoy it well enough. I'll simply say that I don't particularly need it in the recap, so I'm not gonna push it. But if you're like, I really want to keep reading it, sure. But if not, I don't think I'm missing a ton. It had a really fun and good first chapter. But unfortunately, I've been burned by too many sports manga. I can't do it again. So I don't get the good feelings from this one. So I'm just gonna happily push it aside so it hurts less.
I'm at the level where I think that if we're going to like pick up sports manga as they come into Jump and cover them, it has to be in the case of like, oh, this will just be fun to cover just on a chapter by chapter basis, because the protagonist, does insane things like in visuals he stabs people's eyes out and that kind of thing, and this, is perfectly fine character building and stuff like that, but there wasn't anything in this chapter that was just like, oh, this will be fun to talk about on the podcast, kind of thing. If it turns out that this series does take off and gets quite good, absolutely, I would probably be happy with us bringing it back in, but I think we're going to wait for the judgment of the manga reading public to come back on it to see if that happens.
That's very fair. So, for the sake of an official answer, we are not going to be adding Drawn to the Fire to the recap. We're not going to keep it in there. But if this ends up being like a super popular series or something along those lines, we might take a look at picking it back up. Though we said the same thing about Harukaze Mound, and
well, then that didn't really go anywhere, did it? So
hopefully the series does better than that. But in the meantime, Nick, it's Hima-Ten, or should we say Hima-88?
Hima-88 feeling green with this color page. Look at all the green on there.
Yeah.
And it's this chapter's title, Quinn, is Date with Honoka. What?
Wait, Iamori has green eyes. Did you know that?
In this picture, he does. Sure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We get an advertisement for the volume of the comic, which of course means there's cheesecake. But this time it's not Kana cheesecake, so yep. So
it's very funny. We have in our Discord a thread that is specifically for like voting on the covers of manga volumes as they come out, for like the Shonen Jump manga volume covers. And this one came out, the one that Honoka is on the cover of, and I think I don't know if the official total's out, but it's either like given an S rating or an A rating. Like everyone really liked it.
Everyone likes it.
The last one was the one where Kana is like taking her shirt off.
Yeah.
And that got like the D. So I just
well, that's appropriate.
Some people voted for it as a D for that reason, but I do like the juxtaposition of those two. That's just like, wow, this series has really, really beautiful art sometimes, and then sometimes it's just dumb cheesecake. And I guess it's still not exactly sure which one is the more successful of its two modes.
I feel like this manga has had an identity crisis for like 70 chapters.
Every so often you get one of those panels like the one the other week where
there's Himari's butt.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess sometimes this series does do things like this. I always just forget.
I guess this series is technically just intended to be read by like horny boys. Like, yeah. So Iamori has met up with Honoka for a study session, but in the end of the last chapter, she said, hey, what if we go on like a little date? Which date can mean like, different things more typically in like, especially like in Japanese culture as compared to American culture. I feel like saying date on its own specifically has a much more specific context to it. You might say study date or play date or something like that. Date can mean just like hanging out sometimes. So obviously there is like, there is a cutesy, like, like quality to it, but she's not necessarily like saying like, oh, like we are romantically interested in each other, even though she has just asked him on a date.
Yeah.
So
now, also on the topic of dates, Nick, how do you feel about fig Newtons? Oh, I guess those are figs. Never mind. Aren't figs and dates? They're pretty similar.
I don't know enough about that kind of thing.
You don't know about fig Newtons?
I know about fig Newtons, but I don't know what dates are specifically.
Okay.
Like what categories in the horticultural
Google computer. Are dates the same as figs? Now just ignore my typing.
Okay. So
no, they are not the same. That was the first thing it said to me.
Honoka says that, the last time that I asked you to a comedy show, I asked you because like Mayu couldn't go. So this time I thought, well, I should ask you like if we could actually like go together, like with the intent that I want you to come with me specifically. So Imamori's like, well, what do you want to do? And Honoka's like, I borrowed this old ass camera from my parents. It's like a camera, like what you use to take photos and stuff.
It's a camera. Probably a camera I'd have been extremely happy to get at one point in time in my life. But she's like, yeah, check out this ancient ass camera I got. Look at how nostalgic this is.
Now, if you want to really feel old, we got to find out if it like actually records to film. Because if it's a digital camera and they're like, look at this old camera I borrowed from my parents, then.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was reading this entire scene as. So like, check out this ancient digital camera my parents got. It gets like 8 megapixels, and I'm like, that was huge at one point in time.
So Imori's like, oh yeah, I've kind of like always wanted to get into photography, absolutely. And so they're like, okay, yeah, we'll like take some pictures together and stuff. And then Honoka, not at all weirdly, says, I want to see what you'll take pictures of. And Imori, also not at all weirdly, says, I'd like to see what you take pictures of too. All right, calm down. So they head off, and
she's like, okay, I take a lot of pictures of roadkill though. And he's like, ooh, I didn't expect that.
This makes Honoka way more interesting. So Iamori thinks to himself, I'm curious to see what you'll take pictures of. What does Kanai think is beautiful? And of course, this whole time he's still in his head because he's realized like, oh, I actually have like feelings of affection for Himari. So he's like, I want to, on this date, figure myself the hell out. What is it I actually find cute about Honoka? What made me fall for her? Ever since I decided to ask her out, I've known that my feelings for her are genuine. But so he's really hung up on this whole why thing. Like he was focused on it with Kana's confession to him, and now he's focused on it with his pending confession to Honoka. So the two of them go out to like a bridge that is over a railroad crossing. And so it's like, oh, this is like really scenic and stuff. Iamori is like trying to take like, scenic shots and stuff. And Honoka's like, I feel like you're kind of like, pushing yourself to like, kind of, so why don't you like, take one of me? And so, you're just like making it hard on yourself by just trying to do landscapes. So, Iamori takes one. And Honoka, blushes a little bit because she's, like being focused on. And then Iamori's like, maybe a little, and so he goes around to her other side and takes a picture of her with that seems a lot more natural. And he's like, oh, and so Honoka's like, why'd you want to like take a picture of me on this side? And Iamori's just like, because you've got the earrings I got you for Christmas on. And then she's like, oh, you could have said something before if you noticed them. And so they're both all embarrassed and stuff around each other and everything. Honoka does not take a picture of roadkill, but she is an artsy fuck who takes pictures of discarded trash. So
she's like, you don't understand. It means so much. It speaks to capitalism and like excess. It's really deep when you think about it.
It's just a single can on the ground next to the trash can, basically.
That I dropped.
They take a picture of the weeds, and Iomori is like, he's. I don't really get him because he's like, all of the things she's taking pictures of are simple and mundane. She's taking pictures of everyday things. It's so natural, which is just like her. I mean, I can tell you like Honoka because it sounds like you're making up reasons to like her.
I was gonna say this is straight up a boy who's just like in over his head on a crush. He's like, she's so incredible. She takes pictures of like everyday things. Shit, that's so like her when you think about it. It's like, really? It sounds like she takes pictures of junk and you're finding reasons to find that whimsical and beautiful.
I would feel like more convinced if you were like, that's so weird and I like it. Like, I would be so much more convinced that you were into that part of her.
Why am I turned on by her taking so many pictures of flowers?
She takes a picture of like the river, but then there's a kid who kind of like because he's like, he gets kind of like he trips and falls over while he's like playing with the soccer and stuff like that. Honoka goes over to comfort him. She comforts him because he's got like a scrape. And then Iomori is like, here, here, take the camera. I've got a bandage and stuff, and so looking after the kid. And in that moment, Honoka snaps a picture of him while he's like giving the kid a comforting smile. And she's like, oh, this is the best one that I've taken. It's like, oh, that's nice. Like she got a proper candid photo of him and stuff. Then like the two of them hang out on the steps. And she's like, I kind of felt like you might like this place. It's supposed to be like a nice date spot. And Iomori thinks to himself while they're hanging out together, she's so warm. She smiles all the time. She finds the good side of things without trying. Her kindness draws me in. That's what it is about Kanai that makes this clear romantic love. The feelings I have for her. And then he has a flashback to the night that he spent with Himari where they watched the taped fireworks show together. And he kind of gets a little bit sad as he thinks these feelings are completely different from what I have for her. So you're not convincing yourself, kid. Like, you need to just be honest with yourself. It will make this so easier. But Honoka tells Iomori, my mom and dad are out celebrating their anniversary. We could go over to my house right now.
Yeah, scandalous. Who knows what mischief will happen. Yep. We sure are getting closer to the end. I feel bad because every so often I really, really like Honoka.
They might walk around the apartment with their socks on, Quinn. Oh.
They would never. I every so often, we get a moment like this where I'm like, oh yeah, like Honoka seems like she's really nice. But then like these chapters happen and I'm like, I don't really feel like a ton of a spark between the two leads. And I don't know, it makes me just kind of not feel like there's really that much of a competition when you get down to it. But at the same time, this is also a boy having to fight between his long, like, middle school, elementary school crush, and then the one he has with a girl he's spent like a ton of recent intimate time with. So like those are two kind of different combating feelings. I can see why he's wrestling with so much.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons that Kana was a more interesting dynamic with Iomori is because it leaned more into that, like, the contrast of Iomori's like mundanity but reliability against the, fashionable, super busy, seemingly bigger than life while still a girl his age. And Honoka, on the other hand, really matches that energy. Mm-hmm. So their dynamic is a lot less interesting unless there is something additional thrown in to, make it more exciting and dynamic. So when they're just like hanging out like this, and it's just like, oh yeah, I love how she takes pictures of stuff. It's
like even like the first time we really got to know Hanukkah, it was finding out that she loves to see stand-up comedy. And I'm like, oh, what like a unique thing for her to do. Which I don't know. I guess I don't want to be like the person on like a road being like, this fictional child isn't interesting enough. But it is like telling that it's like, oh yeah, she takes photos of kind of like the things you would expect. Whereas like the stand-up comedy thing was like a fun surprise that was like, much like Walt Whitman, Hanukkah contains multitudes as well.
Or if she broke into a witches association and killed everyone and stole a toxic magic. Yeah.
Yes. And
we're on the same side here.
Yeah, we are. We're right on the same track, I believe.
All right. Speaking of magic, Hinato's magic, chapter 13, Recovery. Kinato, he's gotten home. No, he hasn't. Oh no, everyone's dead. Oh, he was having a nightmare. Wow.
It's actually, I don't know why, it was so funny to me when it's like, actually, I'm here too, the wolf guy you lost to. And I'm like, oh no. I mean, you weren't that intimidating, but like, oh no.
Kinato wakes up. He's got anime injuries, bandages everywhere, and Lene is looking after him as he comes to in whatever sick ward that he's in. So he's like, where am I? And apparently he's been out for 3 days. And so Lene's like, yep, but don't worry. I was right by your side day and night taking care of you, because she's in a cute nurse outfit and she does a cute pose and stuff. And Kinato's like, why are you wearing that? And she's like, this is the perfect costume for nursing someone back to health.
Obviously.
And I hope that you enjoyed that bit of Lene, because she's out of character for the rest of this. So yeah, she's like, seeing you in rush shape makes me, feel like I was the one who pushed you to do this. And I wonder if maybe you would have been happier if you just stayed in town all safe. And I don't want to be apart from you. And that's why I'm here. And she gets all teary-eyed and stuff. And it's like, well, I liked you being cute and funny for one page. So thank you for coming back, Lene. But God damn it. But she gives Kinato a big, worried hug and stuff. And then the nurse comes in, and the nurse is like, hey, stop that. If you want to do that, I will lock the door for you. But Jien is there with her. And this is, the actual nurse who actually has like recovery magic and stuff. And her name is Kureha. So I'm sure that she is a great doctor, because if I know manga doctors named Kureha, they're good doctors.
They're all excellent doctors.
Well, this one.
Let's take a look at her form as a doctor, because this is a very important thing. There's a very specific way as a doctor you were meant to do things. So let's see how she like attends to her patient. She appears to be
cowgirl. She gets right on top of Kinato, just fully straddles him, and then the tentacles come out, and her tentacles apparently are healing magic and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know why Lene is shocked to see this, because hasn't she been looking after Kinato for 3 days? Like, did no one like cast healing magic on him for the 3 days? Or like, he's got to be awake for this part.
Yeah, he's got to be awake so that then when they bill him, he can't be like, I don't remember that. He'd be like, yeah, you were. We waited to heal you until you were awake, fucko.
I definitely don't remember when that woman mounted me and put her tentacles on me. So the tentacles start patching up Kinato's wounds, and we get a note that this is distinct from Seitai magic, because this magic promotes natural healing, and like actually weaves damaged cells together, whereas Seitai magic is just kind of like using the body's natural abilities, and because he just manipulates internal natural magic within people's bodies and stuff. But Kureha warns Kinato, hey, you can do all sorts of things with your magic, but if you keep on trying to boost your body like that, you are going to wreck your mana circuits, and you won't be able to use magic again. So stop doing that, Kiyoshi. I mean, Kinato. She impresses upon him like, look, do you want to like just not be able to help people ever again? He's like, no. Good. Okay. Jien is also apparently got some kind of like, I don't know, thing with Kureha because she apparently wanted to heal him too. Also, Zio is here. Zio, the great hero wizard guy. So he gets all flustered around Lene. And then we get a note that says all three of them were all equally awkward, to which I say, I don't know. Lene hasn't been awkward at all this entire time. She's just kind of been herself.
No, she's very awkward because she doesn't know how to respond to this weird dude being weird. So she's awkward.
I guess. But Zio notes like it was kind of a disgrace because I let those guys get away from me. But Jien says like you weren't a disgrace. You helped evacuate the townspeople, and we do see that like while all the city was being wrecked and stuff like that, Zio was darting around to help make sure that people were not getting hit by the rubble and stuff. Talius and Juna, they also show up and are like, we were so useless. And Talius gets all dramatic and stuff, and Juna goes, me too, a couple of times, which is very disheartening because you can't write a character that way. You can't just have them go, and also me, like in addition on someone else's pathos.
Well, remember, she had that important moment where she she had like things were going really bad in town, so you had the like that iconic moment where she like tried to protect everyone. Well, I guess that didn't happen, but she's imagining a really important scene that could have theoretically happened, and she's responding to that. So that's why there's a lot of gravitas and weight to this.
Me too. Yes.
Me too.
So Kinato says, I want to change. And he says, look, I had everyone there to encourage me or lend me a hand, but I want to help out the guild more. I want to be as strong as Zio, and I want to protect people. And that means I got to be able to do things on my own. So I'm going to master boosting my body. And Kureha is like, I just told you not to do that.
She's like, listen here, Deku.
She says in great detail, like, look, you're not a natural fighter, so you don't know your own limits. You don't know when you're pushing yourself too far. So Jien at that point steps in and says, in that case, we need to teach him how to control his mana and physically reinforce him. So we're going to send you to train with experts in mana manipulation, the Majo clan. Yep. We're sending Kinato to the Eastern country so that he can learn the ways of whatever Asta did in Black Clover.
Yep, he's going to learn Zetten.
And yep, that's what we're getting, I guess. And it seems like Kinato is going to have a couple people going with him if the last panel with him and Lene and Zio is anything to go off of.
Sure. I don't want to harp too much on it, but yeah, it's just it's not as fun. Like even with Lene, the magic's just not there. She's not really that funny this chapter. I don't particularly care for the new healer nurse character. I don't know why we're getting this much Zio. I really, it's like, did you just mean to put him in the other guild and you forgot you put him in the enemy? Like, why is he around so much?
He's the rival.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, not particularly memorable, unfortunately.
Yeah. I feel like since the whole adventure that they just got off of, since it started, it really feels like the sauce just like ran out. And I'm very disheartened by that. Like, it's one thing if a series gets canceled, but it is another thing to watch a series just slowly like run out of gas.
Or get like bad recommendations. Like, I don't know. I wonder if like maybe like the editor just like gave poor advice or something. I don't know.
We need like a rival character, like, yeah, or something like that. I don't know.
Yep.
Oh well.
But you know what I do know?
Well, I know that I kind of hurt talking about that, and I feel like someone else might too.
Someone hurts, Nick?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Chapter number 31. There were this many people. We get it's the event that was built up in the last couple chapters or so. The big Monday midnight talking event. and Mizuo and Mime are going to it together. And Mime is super prepped for this. He's got a giant ass tote bag. He's like, I am ready in case anything happens.
Anything bad. He's specifically like, he's like, in case it rains, I have umbrellas. In case we get robbed, I have extra wallets we can, use. Like, he's got everything.
Won't they just take the bag that you're holding?
That's why I need a second bag.
Cute cover page of the two of them going to see a movie, and Mizuo's got the appropriate size bucket of popcorn.
I like how she's eating it, which is to just tip it slightly and hold her mouth open.
So yeah, both of them say like, yeah, this is the first time that we're actually going to this kind of event. But Mizuo says like, hey, don't worry, I know the pressure points to relieve stress. Very weird. Mime wants to get some merch, so they like go to some of the stalls that are outside. They see that Iron Man of Cold Chinese Noodles is there, and she is stocking up on merch. And I appreciate that she says people become adults to do stuff like this. It's like, yes, you don't need to grow out of your hobbies. You just get financially stable enough to be able to fully throw yourself into them. Good for her.
Yeah.
So she also asks about, like, hey, are you sending in one-liners and stuff like that? And that they established that some of the people are, like not there. Shrimp Sushi and Nachi are not there. And then they go to like, to try and do some other stuff, but they come across a kid who is looking really, really troubled. And Mime can't help himself, goes over and is like, hey, what's the matter? And he's like, I lost my ticket. I think that I dropped the pouch with it somewhere around here. And so, kind of like, goes over, steps together. And Mime, looks down at Mizuo, and she kind of like immediately knows, like, all right, yeah, like, yes, yeah, sure. And so they go off to try and help together. But they split off, go in different directions. Mime bumps into a girl, and we kind of get a little bit of focus on her for a second. Then we get a quick little montage, but Mime is able to find the tap pouch. They return it to the kid together. And the kid notices, like, oh, you guys have like the keychains for like getting your submissions read on the air. Like, what are your on-air names? And so, yeah, they're Potato and Alan the Woods. And he's like, oh my gosh, it's you guys. Oh, I really want to like get my material read on the air too. You guys are so cool and stuff. So just a little moment of like, ego patting, for them. So he goes off to his section. The kid does. Mime and Mizuo go off together, and they're, like at this point, like running behind because like they had to spend all the time searching. We see the hosts of Monmid running around, and he spots that there's a couple of people who are late to their seats, and so he shouts over to Mizuo and Mime, "Hey, you better hurry up!" And when they turn, he waves to them, and they both get a little bit starstruck. And they do a little jig, which is a very silly little moment of like, all right, you guys are dorks. That's very cute. They get into the main arena where they see a whole ton of people. Mizuo refers to them as 12,000 sacks, which, all right. But Mime says, like, I always kind of like felt like we were just like the only ones in the world listening in. To which I say, yes, it kind of did seem that way at points, didn't it? But no, apparently this like this show that has 3 a.m. Monday morning air times has.
Nick, you remember when we did our stadium show? Like, that was a surprise to us as well. Like, when we sold out the Staples Center and we did a live WMR from there. It's weird. You can go looking for the podcast episode. You can't find it. We forgot to hit record on the thing inside the Staples Center. So the episode's gone. But we did it. We sold out the Staples Center, and that was pretty cool.
Typical OBS problems.
Yeah. Now, granted, in fairness, we sold out the Staples Center because we were the halftime show for a Celtics game. And that was a pretty big event. But we were on the card, the marquee, so that was,
It was
significant.
so hard to cram 12 chapters into 20 minutes.
Yes, Mr. Dwight Howard, all right? We'll be done with the basketball court in a goddamn minute. All right, Steph, chill out. Look, do you have some Boruto thoughts or not? All right, then get out of here. You like Kashin Koji? What the? Get out of here. Shut up and dribble.
It's like, all right, a lot of athletes are fucking nerds. Oh boy. So, as they're getting to their seats, Mime just has this, kind of like dumbstruck look on his face. And when Mizu asks him about it, he says, yeah, when I was the age of that kid that we met earlier, I was always trying really hard to live up to everyone's expectations. And I had a real breakdown from entrance exams to high school. And there was this phase where I just hated everything around me. And I thought that maybe I was all alone in the world. And, Mizu has this moment like, oh, I didn't know that. And it's like, yeah, me neither. Because, he doesn't really talk about that. It's not like really a big background focus of the series or anything. But, I kind of understand where he's coming from. And he definitely seems like that kind of person, certainly. And Mime's like, yeah, sorry for just suddenly getting into dark stuff. But when I was listening to Monmouth at the time, I felt like I wasn't totally alone. And Mizo says, well, yeah, because there were this many people the whole time. And she looks at him and says, and I'm around too. Aww. And the two of them take their seats together as they get set to listen to the live show. And that's where we leave off.
Yeah. Fun, cute little chapter. And I don't know, I like that. It's sweet. There's some nice little moments in there. I dug it.
All
Kiyoshi!
Right. An ultimate exorcist named Kiyoshi, even. Chapter 90, Memories of Mama. Hell's Bobo has just gotten punched with holy magic really hard in the gut, and he's not doing so good now. It looks like Kiyoshi has won the battle, so Sosuke and Shuten come over and are like, oh man, you are amazing, you did it. And Kiyoshi says, like, look, his stores of demonic magic are not fully exhausted. We've got 2 rounds left. But Shishido goes over to Bobo and he just says, like, look, you got to give it up. You have been beaten at full power. Your body is at its limit. You should withdraw from the Roth territory. But at that moment, Bobo has a flashback to when his mother was alive. Hell's a mama. And weren't she tiny?
She's just a little guy. Look at her.
Her coat dragging along the ground and stuff. So yeah, she was, as a kid, like, Bobo was getting scolded for, beating up his siblings to train them. So Mama healed them and is like, hey, you just leave it all to me. And so Beelzebub says, like, yep, that's my wife, sharing her demonic powers with other people. And but Mama, afterwards, tried to punish Bobo, but she's so weak that she hurt her hand just trying to, knock some sense into him. And Bobo's like, you're a low-level demon. You can't do that. You'll just get hurt. But Mama says, well, I'm fine with that, though, because you're worried about me. And so that shows, like, I know that you're kind, and you need to not forget that feeling. And we get narration from Bobo saying, like, look, my mother wasn't like other demons. She was kind. And that is the environment that my siblings and I were born into. The unprecedented marriage of a great demon lord to a low-level demon. And demons were drawn to my mother's unique power because of her ability to share magic and stuff. And they kidnapped her, were planning to sell her. But then the great demon lord Helzebub, in his prime, showed up and beat up all the people who tried to kidnap her. And then Mama, instead of, holding resentment towards them, healed all the people that Bub had just beaten the fuck up. And when Bub asked what she was doing, she said, I want to love everyone equally, no matter who they are. Which was so striking to Bub that he was immediately fascinated and taken by her. So, yeah, they got married, they had kids, and at one point, Mama was telling, the kids like, hey, one day demons are going to be able to join hands with humans. And Bobo doesn't really understand this because he's like, look, humans, we kill humans to get stronger. It's what makes us demons, and humans are weak, and it's bad to be weak. And of course, Mama's like, am I bad then? Well, I am 6 and can't deal with this quandary, so don't interrogate me over it.
How are there churches in hell for them to get married in?
Well, there's a skull inside that one, Quinn.
Okay, so that's fair. And the cross is upside down, so it's like an antichrist church, I guess, then.
Yeah, okay. Unholy matrimony and all that stuff. Also, in this flashback, Helzebub had a shirt that just says king on it, so that he's still the king. So, Mama encouraged Bobo to become a demon lord who is kind. And Bobo's like, you mean like Lord Roth? And she's like, as your mother, I do not think I should recommend him as a role model, but it's okay. I'll watch over you by your side. And they made a pinky promise on that. Turn the page. She's dead!
No!
Who could have seen this coming, that the character who wasn't around in the present was dead? And they had, a funeral at the, Antichrist church. Apparently, she participated in a battle in the demon realm and died when she shared too much of her demonic power with other demons. But Bobo says that fight was against exorcists. I heard the truth from one demon that in the middle of the fight, my mother saved an exorcist and was killed by a different exorcist. Le gasp!
It's kind of complicated, but okay.
Yeah. So Bobo now, of course, dismisses the idealistic way of thinking that his mother had, which was like, look, you thought that everyone could join hands, and that got you killed. The strength to protect something, you didn't even have the strength to keep your promises. My mother was wrong about everything, and it really is bad to be weak, which is why I will wipe out the weaklings. That is my love and peace. And in the present, he stumbles back up to his feet, and Chisha warns him, like, look, if you go any further, you're gonna die. And in response, Boba says, if I'm that weak, I would rather die. All debts called in. So he's got roughly 600 debts out of the 1,000 they started with. He's pulling them all in to sacrifice all of his coming back from the dead chances to instead increase his power 5-fold. And he's got curly bits coming off of him now. And so, yep, final round with Kiyoshi going down.
Yep. I like that there's a little bit more of an exaggeration here because, we had a chapter already that sort of previously teased that there was something going on with Bobo's mom, that there was some kind of thing that Kiyoshi was trying to kind of keep him alive for. And now we get it. But it's kind of nice that it's not like, here's the backstory after he's been defeated and is basically dead, like what we got with Astaroth. I like that there's a little bit more tension. We're midway through the fight. We get this flashback, and hey, he's like, look, I'm not done yet. If I can't win and beat you, I'll die doing it, basically. I'll call in everything. If I'm not strong enough, then so be it. It's, a nice way to emphasize and build everything up a little bit more as we head to the final climax of this actual fight.
It also definitely presents another lost condition for this battle.
Sure.
Because Bub does not want his kids to die, despite the fact that Bobo has caused all of this trouble. He still wants to be able to save his kid, and now Bobo is like, all right, I will either win this battle or I will die. Both of those things are bad, as we have established, because we do have a little bit of sympathy for Bobo after this chapter now. So yeah, I do agree that it's nice to have this flashback come before the final blow because it's like, all right, this does actually increase the stakes as opposed to finishing the battle and then telling you what
Yes.
the stakes were. By the
Actually,
way,
Astaroth really kind of struggled to connect with people. It's like, all right,
oh,
well,
he's just like me for real.
yeah, good stuff here. And now we have 2 chapters of Marriagetoxin.
That's right. So as Garo is continuing approaching the end of his battle with Tonoko, we see that Ushio and Kimie and Toshiro are all not Toshiro, sorry, Kimie's brother. I forgot his name. PK was what he was called before. So yeah, he says like, look, Tonoko's wolf, it clads itself in the environment to have an impenetrable shield that repels attacks. Its one and only vulnerability is a brief downtime to mitigate the strain on its fur. And Tonoko in mid battle has got this giant brush. But yeah, so he explains like, look, if Garo aims for that gap, if he is willing to pay the price of victory, he might be able to pull it off. But Kimie says, look, don't put yourself through any more pain than this, Garo. And she's like really worried that it's like going to turn out badly for him. So we see Garo racing in to strike to Tonoko's wolf, and Tonoko thinks that she's got it all figured out because she's like, look, you know that this is like your opening. So you have enhanced your legs for a direct strike with your poison. I fired the Thunderbolt God Wolf precisely for leading this opening for you because you're going to come in and put all this in, and I am going to ensure a certain kill because you are putting all of your cards on this. I can see through your plan. You've got all that fake bloodlust in your right hand. The true strike's coming from your left. I can see it. But then she gets a flash from when she was a child, and Nasu, was bearing down on her, and she senses like that same danger, basically the same bloodlust that she felt in the past, and she's like, "Why would Hikaru Garo have that?" But her wolf is there by her side, Shichiro, and she thinks to herself, like, it's okay. Our optimal move is the same. We just have to extinguish Hikaru Garo's life before he has the chance to strike. We shall never again back down. And so they prepare for Garo to come in. We get build up as Garo's fingers, which seem to have all of that bloodlust concentrated in them, come close. And Toshira's like, and Tonoko thinks to herself, this is really impressive. There's no sense of even pretense, but I know it. I know where it is, that the ace is in his left hand. Die! And Shichiro goes to counter the strike, and then Garo kicks him in the fucking neck. Because it was a double gambit. The left hand was also bait. The true trump card was his leg. He made it seem like all the stuff that he pumped into his legs was just to boost his speed, but it was actually to prepare for this strike and inject his new toxin into Shichiro, who coughs up blood, does not fall, however, knocks Garo aside, comes bearing in to bite down on Garo, and so Garo's like, it's okay, I just need to dodge the final blow. And then he realizes that Kinosaki is still in the hatch directly behind him, and so he can't dodge. He can't even take Kinosaki and get out of the way because he doesn't have the time to do it. And then he senses a thumping next to his chest, and he pulls out the marriage collar that he had put aside in his jacket, and he thrusts it into Shichiro's mouth, and the collar shatters, blocking the bite. And that's the big climax of the first chapter, which was an insanely cool chapter. This was a really cool climax to this battle. I love all the beats within it of like the twist, one on top of each other.
Yes, there's a nice sequence of exchanges there, even if I haven't been the biggest fan of this arc.
But then we cut back down into the hallway where Tokoro, the monkey guy, has been, defeated by Toshiro. And Toshiro thinks to himself, bloodlust is the definition of power. It's the driving force behind our altered lineage amplified, aberrant abilities that defy logic and reason. But he sensed that when Garo fell into the abyss, he came into contact with the very marrow of bloodlust itself. The toxin he obtained as he crawled back up from that pit is a tricky one. Ooh. Jump back outside to where the battle has just completed between Garo and Toniko. Toniko is tending to Shichiro, who is not dead. He just sleeping. And Garo explains, like, look, when I lost to Nasu, I know that you had Arashiyama's brother hide me away here. You reunited me with Toshiro, who gave me the toxin seed that he had been keeping, and then you set the stage for me to grow through that battle royale. And he bows his head and says, I would like to offer my gratitude and also my apologies because I broke your marriage collar. He's too good a boy, this guy.
He's like, I'm sorry. I broke your, like, weird power control trauma totem. I apologize.
Yeah. And he also apologized because he did accept the marriage proposal before he was stopped. He says, that was thoughtless of me, and I shouldn't have toyed with your feelings like that. And Kinasaki comes forward and is like, I'm sorry, I made a promise with you. I was really just using you to protect Garo. And Toniko is just like, will you guys shut the fuck up? Don't apologize to me. We are assassins in the underworld. We do this to each other. It really sucks that you guys are like apologizing to me over it. It feels weird. But Garo says, look, I felt it. I felt through the collar the loneliness that you have been carrying. We are both heirs to top 5 families, so I really should have noticed it myself. And he offers her, like, the remaining fragment of the collar. And Toniko takes it, and she thinks to herself, you know, I already knew deep down that I could find the strongest man to be my mate. I could tie him down by force, but we would have never built a truly strong family. Well, I'm glad that you understand that on one level.
She figured it out. She got it all together.
And so she's like, yeah, I mean, like, I've been clinging on to this marriage collar all these years. You sought to teach me a lesson, didn't you? Sacrificing yourself in the process. So Chichiro is able to kind of stagger up to his feet, and Toniko says, we're done here. You guys can go home. And then she realizes something. And
she's like, wait a minute.
Why am I doing this? What's going on? And then she realized, like, oh, Hikaru Garo's new toxin kills the intent to kill. It kills bloodlust. It's killed the thing that has been swirling within us to fight. It's just gone now. And she also realizes the reason I couldn't dodge the kick is because he killed his own bloodlust to do it. So she couldn't sense it. And she realizes the danger. If Nasu gets his hands on that kind of poison, oh shit, there would be no specialists to stop him. Yeah.
Yep.
But Garo interrupts these thoughts and says, hey, do you want to, like, look for a marriage partner together? And everyone is shocked by this, of course, because it's like, what are you talking about all of a sudden? But Arashiyama and Ushio show up at that moment with Arashiyama's brother, and they're like, we're here to help. And then they're like, oh, everything's over. But Garo continues this point to Toniko and says, look, I got to meet all these really special people, and I'm sure that you'll find somebody too. And Toniko's like, oh my God, shut up. Just shut up.
Eat shit and die.
I love the panel of Arashiyama and Ushio getting up in Garo's face for making them worry and leaving them behind and stuff. They're making very funny expressions and everything. Then PK comes to Toniko and says, hey, are you okay with this? And she says, I'll wait and see for now. That toxin demands a very specific type of specialist. He's probably the only one who can handle it. But things aren't done yet because, Tokuro is a sore loser, and he is gonna apparently blow up the whole prison. The whole place is trembling, and it looks like we're gonna have to have some sort of escape attempt of some kind.
I'll say, for an arc that I haven't particularly been super on board with. I do think this conclusion was pretty solid, and I kind of like where we're going now. I'm not crazy on the monkey user still being a threat. Yes. I'm like, all right, this is fucking...
You lost, dude. Come
all
on.
right, spammed him. Like, calm down. All right, I don't care about you getting your ass kicked this much.
You got your face slammed into the ground, and then that naked lady got on top of your opponent. Like, come on, fuck off.
Yeah, you're done. But that said, I am still like digging this a little bit more than I was a couple weeks ago, and it's nice to feel a little bit more invested in Marriagetoxin, because you know you get this moment like Garo being like, "I'm so sorry, I broke your collar." You're like, "Yeah, of course that's what you're fucking thinking about right now, you stupid idiot." Like, I'm sorry, I broke this weird symbolic piece of like trauma and hatred and everything like that was covered in spikes. Who could even wear it? Who could even wear it, Nick?
I also do appreciate that we are very obviously positioning Tonoko to not be a love interest of Garo at this point. It seems like she's going to be like some of the other specialists that he has befriended along this journey who might show up in a supporting role here or there to just kind of hang out. And honestly, if we get little like flashes of like, you know, those bonus chapters where it's like, oh, here's the date that Garo went on with one of the girls. If we start to see some of that with some of like the male specialists as she's looking for a marriage partner, I think that could be fun to see that side of things. If the two of them like go on a double date or something like that, and we get like a little comedy sequence like that, I think that could be fun.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun
now that we've gotten to know Tonoko a little bit more and like could get used to her being like a supporting character, I kind of would like to see that.
Yeah, all on board with it, and I want to see her go on a date with the Wind Wheel user clan. Like, I want to see her go on a date with them.
Someone just as weird, yes.
Yeah, just be like, all right. You all ride bikes around everywhere? I ride a big wolf, so I think that's cooler.
Yeah. All right. Quinn, News Exorcist, Chapter 143, News Contractors. What's up? Oh,
no,
sorry. You're
just excited. It's a new Exorcist, Nick.
Yeah, a new Exorcist even. Yes. Gekka, who is super cool. And don't you just love her? And what other girls? It
is kind of interesting how she showed up in this series, and everyone's like, Gekka's so cool. She's actually kind of stronger and cooler and better than Gakuro in all these ways. And she's certainly better. Yeah, she's certainly better than all the other girls. Look how cool she is.
So the two of them are all set to go. They're like, yeah, we're news contractors and we are linked. Let's show him the ultimate teamwork. And Gakuro's like, I'm still here. Yeah.
I'm distracted by her baggy thigh highs or boots. I don't know what they're supposed to. They're like parachute pants, but they like only go up to her thigh. And I'm like, what's holding them up? Are those like stapled to your legs? Why are they so baggy?
Yeah, they're like leg warmers, but they go up to her thigh and go down to her calf.
It's like she tucks them into her boots.
It's strange. Yeah, so they're fighting with Kasha, and so they do that. This is just a lot of wish wah slash swah swah for a lot of this chapter. Until eventually Gekka accidentally stabs one of her blades directly into the mouth that Kasha's got that just eats stuff, and it eats the command energy, and Gekka can't get her blade to come back out. So then Kasha just slashes her from shoulder to waist. Gakuro is left to fight Kasha on his own. So Gekka is like, all right, I gotta figure out opening here. And we get narration that's like, Gekka had been near death in 1,000 years. In the dozen minutes she fought Kasha, Gekka got a crystal clear picture of his thoughts and his timing. And so what strategy does she hatch, Quinn, during this analysis where she's just watching and waiting for her opening? She comes in behind Kasha really fast and tries to slash him.
He'll never see it coming.
And the thing is, it works, but it doesn't work. Like, because she does actually hit this time. She gets a direct hit on his arm and slices it from shoulder to elbow, and blood comes out. And that's just it. Like,
Yeah.
he's not, it does, she's like, I
Too
was trying to
shallow.
cut his arm off. What the hell? And so, yeah, Akasha's just like, I simply twisted away from your attack. Even at death's door, you wouldn't give up. I trusted you to take a shot in that moment when I was defenseless. And so Gekka's like, oh, this is bad because I'm losing a lot of blood. And she slumps to one knee. And so Kasha says, Gekka, I like humans, especially the brilliant ones. And in those terms, you are splendid. I love you. I have an offer for you, and if you accept it, I will not kill you or the boy. And that's the chapter. So Kasha's a freak. Yeah, that's the chapter.
Yep, sure is. I don't have particularly strong feelings about this chapter. I think some parts of it are kind of cool, but there are other parts that are not great, and also the art's really kind of hit or miss in this chapter. The panel where like Gakuro shouts like "Gekka, no!" is like in particular kind of really weird. It doesn't even look like Gakuro in that panel. But for the most part, I didn't really have too many thoughts about this chapter. The actions, the classic Noose Exorcist, fine, but I can't follow it really.
This is when Noose Exorcist is at its best, which means it's at its worst. So, yeah.
But it's at its worst is ironically when it's actually at its best.
Yes!
Nick's like, oh, where are the other girls?
I miss when Noose Exorcist sucks, okay?
Oh, where's Zeno? Why has no one peed their pants recently?
Akane-banashi story 204, The Effortless Realm. Featuring a cover page of Akane and her gal friends going to have some fucking desserts. Hooray. Akane! Yeah, she had like a full-on like out-of-body experience in the last chapter, and now she is floating over the world of Rakugo, but this time she realizes something is different. And she goes by the site of the story that she is telling, which is that the man who now has been told the way to, like, you know, cast away gods of death is now being approached as a master curer. And so they're like, oh, doctor, please. And so, you know, man's kind of stunned, comes in, sees the god of death standing at the foot of the patient's bed. And so he's like, okay, yeah, I can handle this. And so he casts the spell, and the god of death fades away. And the man who was sick immediately starts to feel better, and he sits up in bed, and he's all hungry and stuff. And then we have the man who has just gained this power to cast away death saying, I think that we should get 2 tempura bowls in here. And they're like, oh, 2? Why? Yes. 1 for him and 1 for me. Ha 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 ha, joke. But we see in this moment Akane deliver the punchline, and her face does not look like her face for a second. It looks very, very distorted. This is the first hint of like the effect this is having on her performance, this feeling that she is having, as she is still kind of like watching herself from out of her body. She's like, I am floating up here, but my mouth is still working. Words keep coming out. And she tells the next part of the story, which is that, you know, success comes to the man, which includes, you know, like women are interested in him because he's rich now. And Akane acts out the part of a woman who's like, oh, would you like to see the sights with me? And then she also plays out the man's reaction, which is, gosh, you're a real purta lady. And both times it's like Akane like doesn't make these expressions. Like we see all sorts of funny expressions that she makes, and these are still like out of character for her. And she realizes like I've always struggled with like those 2 aspects of Rakugo, like portraying sensuality, portraying perviness, and they're just so easy for me right now. It's like I'm not myself. And she realizes that this is not just her being in the Rakugo verse, it's the reverse of that. I was playing freely before, but now I'm being carried by the reaction of the crowd. My outlook and my very heart are unleashed. The Rakugo is playing all on its own. So she's just kind of like, along for the ride at this point. And we see people reacting to it because she just kind of like, in the middle of her performance just goes, oh man, this is wild. And Isho and Iken seem to realize that, hey, something's kind of up with her performance. Probably they see that she faltered a bit. And Akane realizes like, things are kind of like spilling out because the characters are acting on their own. And so something that transcends the imagination leaps forth from within, and one is helpless to prevent the smile that emerges. It is where the performer finds herself at the apogee of her creative power, the effortless realm. And Iken analyzes all this and is like, yeah, she showed the scenery through performance before that this is different this time. And you see flashes of immense emotion at times. And Akane is just kind of like going along with this, and she's like, I can't wait to find out what the characters that are coming out of me are going to say next. And there is excitement because, like, oh my god, if she's performing at this level, maybe she can beat Kaisei. And then another character, of course, speaks and says, oh, that seems fun. Let me play too. And we get 2-page spread of, oh, right, the god of death is the star of this story. And it's weird, chibi, creepy face is taking up the whole goddamn 2 pages and is demanding to come out as Akane's story reaches its climax. Yep. So here we go.
Yeah. I did kind of snicker a little bit when I was like, the god of death. This is where Akane's god of death truly begins. Which is one of those things I'm like, if I'm halfway through a movie and they're like, and now it really starts, I'd be like, why don't you call me when you're ready to start the story at the part where it gets good? But I understand what they're trying to say. They're like, this is sort of the make it or break it moment of her story. And, I can't wait to see what's going in there. That said, I'm really not sure what I, as an audience member, am supposed to feel about Akane's story at this point. I'm not, like, am I supposed to think she's doing poorly because she isn't necessarily in control of everything she's doing? Or am I supposed to be like, wow, she's so incredible? Like, I'm not entirely sure if I'm supposed to be like, wow, Akane has this in the bag, or if I should be, like, a little nervous for her yet.
I think that it's supposed to be both.
Okay.
I think that we are supposed to see this as like an immense breakthrough because we see, like Akane saying like, there are things that I normally don't do well that I'm now doing really naturally. But you see the little slips there of like, she hasn't fully mastered being able to do this. And so it's like, Isho would hate that kind of thing. Like, you are not in command of the audience by doing this. You're just kind of like letting yourself go with the flow and letting them tell you what to do. You're not telling them how to react. I think that there is tremendous value that can be mined from this, and that's going to be something that we explore, presumably following Akane's performance or following the duet as a whole. Like, I get the impression that we're supposed to think that Akane is doing incredibly well, but the Kaisei is probably going to beat her.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for Akane-banashi, and we're going to wrap up Weekly Manga Recap by talking about One Piece, Chapter 1181, God and Devil. And hey, Carrot gets to be on a cover page, and that's basically as good as being a Straw Hat when you think about it.
Yeah, and just like Helzebub had a T-shirt that said King, she's got a coat that says Queen on it. Just so you remember, she is the Queen of the Minx now.
Oh yeah. So we open with Loki.
I feel like when she was given that position, people were like, I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah, I don't think you get that title. So we open with Loki thinking a little bit about his father and thinking like, he died at 144, but giants are supposed to live till 300 years. Like, he died early and you're the one who manipulated and killed him. And Imu is just like, the one who suffered the greatest setback was Mu. So
he just doesn't give a shit.
Loki's like, all right, I'm going to crush you with this giant hammer. He thinks about all the important things his dad did, and then he's like, what the hell did you do to my old man? Activates, his hammer, big lightning attack, swings it down. You have to understand, this hammer is like larger than Imu himself is. Like it's humongous in comparison. And Imu just kind of holds his hand up. There's that like evil kind of monster fireball that's been around him that intercepts the shot and just kind of blocks it before the two could even clash. They have that space between them, which is something that we've had hinted at a couple times before, is something that happens when like two very powerful people hit each other. Their hockeys kind of clash in midair before the items do. There's a big explosion, and Loki's like, what the heck? How did you block that? Like, what are you talking about? We see Imu start to use his Omen attack. He manifests something and sends it out. He says, Omen is my military might. And he grows really big. He grows to the size of a giant, to which Loki says, you can do that? And Imu casually drops one of the weirdest lines in this series, which says, a power that lurks within all things. I guess is a way to explain why many, usually antagonists in One Piece, are just huge, like beyond what their race should be. Like Kaido was humongous but not a giant, and Whitebeard was huge and not a giant, so everyone can kind of be a giant, I guess, is what Imu is suggesting. Cool to know. There is a little bit of a back and forth, but Imu starts to get the better end of this. He kind of stabs Loki with a sword at one point and starts just waxing philosophic. He's like, it is in the nature of man to crave strength. However, when power so lusted after is too easily gained, corruption, and choosing servitude out of self-interest, covenants, and the envy that seeks to achieve one's goals, the power of Omen. As, Imu seems to have clearly sort of described the three different powers he possesses. The power of corruption, the power of covenants, and this power of Omen. And he says that is what we call domination. Hits this big giant explosion. Loki just kind of tanks it, though, and says, I didn't ask, and slams him with a hammer.
So cool. Because he says all this stuff is like, this is the power of the world domination. I got a big hammer. Fuck you.
My hammer's a squirrel. Boom. And he says, fine, your power is God's domination. I think that just means you made a contract with the devil. But Imu, not done yet, is just like, what is the difference? Ooh.
God, devil, what is the difference? I'm 15 and I've just gotten my fanfiction.net account booted up.
I was going to say, he's getting really philosophical. But he thinks domination is the only true bliss in that world. And then Imu has a little flashback. It's tough to tell exactly what's happening, but we see figures, one of which is laughing at somebody. And Imu thinks to himself, isn't that right? Well, he says, isn't that right? And then screams, isn't that right, Joy Boy? His hockey going absolutely insane. Luffy feels it and is immediately like, I have to eat more. I need to make sure.
Get back there.
And we see Loki slam Imu with his hammer, sends him flying across Elbath and into Yggdrasil. And he's just like, what's wrong? Got distracted? That means you don't respect me enough. But Imu, even though he's coughing and everything, he doesn't seem like super upset about everything. Even as Loki turns into Nidalhogg and he's preparing, to just like electrify him with a giant super energy blast. We just see Imu start to even smile as they say, so thou art back. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about all this stuff that Emu's going on about. That man just hit him with a hammer and then turned into a dragon and hit him with a lightning bolt. That's so fucking cool.
It is very cool. I enjoy that we get little lore teases. Oda is so good at like dropping these like side little bits in the story that you're like, oh, is that meant to explain this? I truly cannot explain how chuffed and pleased I was that there might be an in-universe mechanical reason for why so many of our antagonists are like like 17'8" or whatever. Like they're all humongous, and it's like, yeah, Imu just casually dropped that actually everyone can become a giant if you really want it.
If you get swole enough.
And I do like just how Imu generally deals with things. I think he's becoming a more interesting antagonist as we get more and more from him. Not just that we're getting like his little, edgy teenage thoughts of like, are gods and devils so different? But I love seeing this moment of like, there is a core.
This is a man who has never had to answer to an editor because he's too rich.
Yeah.
Like...
But I love how angry he gets when he thinks about Joy Boy, where we see this crack and he's not like completely all like dedicated just to his own shit. Like there is a real intrinsic like human part of him that is really upset about something that happened with him and Joy Boy.
He also does One Piece angry yells where his mouth gets really big and stuff. He's not just that above everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff. And yeah, this has been a fantastic return to Wednesdays for Weekly Manga Recap. Let's name our favorite chapters that we went over today.
Yeah, favorite chapter this week. I feel like I'm just trying to run through them all. So a lot of our audience voted and had like Black Clover as a series to nominate. And again, we will be discussing that next week. But just note, not being considered for us this week, but might be next week. I think my favorite chapter was Spy Family. I really did laugh a lot reading that chapter. I don't know why. Anya's constant like costume changes were really, really amusing to me. And also I just like the joke it ends off on when she's like, look at all the free stuff I got.
All this stuff I've got.
And her parents like, what a good day you had. Wow.
Anya had no idea what Becky was trying to accomplish the whole time. She was just living her best life with her rich best friend that she gets to bum cool costumes and toys off of, and that's great for her. Yeah. Yes,
absolutely.
So I get that choice. I am going with Marriagetoxin. I thought that this was a really cool conclusion to an arc that, yes, I feel like has been a little bit of a step down, especially because we had such really fun and interesting arcs leading into this one. This was kind of a letdown for the, I guess, like not like arc, but like, saga that everything was kind of a part of with the reveal of Nasu and the immediate aftermath. But the stuff that it did with the final battle, the character development with Tonoko, all really good stuff, I felt.
Yeah. My MVP this week is going to be the Toxiterror magic because I want to hug it. It's poison and
hug it.
It's poison and friend typed. Those are its two types. And well, I guess it's ghost now, actually, sadly. So that's a bummer. But poison ghost is good. Gengar was poison ghost.
Yeah. It's which means that, the very type that they were meant to go up against, they had a weakness to. So, oops, we made Psychic too powerful. Sorry, guys.
It's fine. They're not that good of a type anymore, from what I understand.
That's what you call overcorrection. I think that I'm going to actually say Mime was my character of the week, just for the surprise of like, oh, there's like a little bit of depth to this series in terms of like, sad backstory stuff, and it kind of gives deeper meaning to like the connections that he has, not just with Mizuho, but like with this program. It kind of makes the whole basis of the series feel more important, that it has that level of meaning to him when it helped him in a troubled part of his life. So good stuff.
All right. And the audience, by the way, picked, I believe it's Spy Family as the chapter of the week, and Loki from One Piece, one character of the week, which makes sense. He did a lot of cool things, as Nick mentioned.
Yeah, he hit all of his finishers, and Imu just doesn't want to work. It's not cool of him. He'll never work in this territory again.
Yeah. Which is a shame. He was going to go over Darby Allin.
God damn it. Now we've got to go back to MJF again.
Hey, look, I wanted to really shit on MJF. That was one of the best World Championship runs I think anyone's had in AEW. He was really good that run.
Cool. All right, guys, that's going to do it for Weekly Manga Recap. Thank you for joining us. We are back, as said, on Wednesdays here on twitch.tv/RoloT is when and where we will be doing the live recordings for the foreseeable future. If you want to know exactly when the stream goes live, we usually start around 7:30 to 8 Eastern time, but you can follow us on social media. On BlueSky, we are RoloT, Nick F Time, and Weekly Manga Recap. And also join the Discord, which will be linked wherever this podcast is posted, and we'll send a notification out whenever the stream starts up. Also on BlueSky, you can follow WMR Votes, so you can take part in the audience poll for favorite series and MVP. That is mastered by Ninja X3i. So thank you for all the help, Ninja, for what you do to keep track of all that stuff for us. Discord, we have a wonderful community that discusses the chapters as they come out, along with other things. There are normal hangout periods that people do, like to just kind of voice chat, play games, all sorts of cool stuff on there. We are listenable on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com. We are watchable on YouTube. And also you can use iTunes and Spotify and your regular podcast feed services in order to listen to the show too. And we are finally on Patreon, patreon.com/weeklymangarecap, if you want to financially support the show and also get some bonus content as well. We want to thank Milo Jack Stillitz and Bree Cheddar for making the opening sequence of the video version that goes up on YouTube, as well as Steve Mann, who occasionally does title cards for us whenever we do a recommendation. And that's gonna do it.
Now,
finally,
so. We do have potentially one little bit more. I'm back. It's Wednesday. I don't have my demanding class schedule the same way. So we're ready to take recommendations again. It was just going to be a temporary pause, and thank everybody for the patience for that. And I figure we need to come back with an oomph. We don't want to come back and be like, all right, guys, we're going to talk about New Prince of Tennis or something like that. Well, actually, people might be excited for that. But the idea of being let's talk about, I don't know, My Hero Vigilantes or whatever. That's fine. We can get to those sorts of things. But I wanted to make sure we came back with something with some oomph, some oeuvre, some zazz. So I decided we've gone a little too long. Some things, there's some series in the canon of Weekly Manga Recap that we haven't gotten to because either their length or something else causes a challenge. And we're going into this with a little bit of a plan. So we are finally going to be covering Berserk. Asterisk.
Part of it.
We're covering part of it, and we're going to be covering Berserk in chunks. So I've talked with some people. It seems like the general consensus we want to get to is, I'm trying to find the exact arc, but unfortunately I lost it in there. But this is, I believe within the first big volumes of it, the Golden Dawn or something like that, I think is the name of it. I will get the exact answer of where it is, and I'll put that in our Discord and give the details. But yeah, we're going to be covering a little bit of Berserk, guys.
All right. So look ahead to that. That'll be in a few weeks for us. And in the meantime, we're back on Wednesdays, baby, and we're going to have hopefully a little bit of more special stuff for you guys in the near future. So follow along, and we will see you next time on Weekly Manga Recap. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.